If any Liberals are surprised by the Liberal result in New South Wales, I'm going to tell you, you have to be the last to know. It's not that Dominic Perrottet was a bad chap or even was a bad premier. I actually think his concession speech marked the quality of the man. Now, this is not about him directly. It's just that the Liberal Party have completely lost their way. The National Liberal right actually started in New South Wales, where politics became actually a plaything of lobbyists who controlled preselections, and they wielded influence for hire. This factional divide was essentially one of those who obeyed the lobbyist demands in return for campaign funding and career preferment versus those who refused to sell out. Over the years, we saw a revolving door of leaders, none of whom survived more than one election cycle. The scandals and the allegations of corruption that engulfed the MPs was only ever exceeded, in my memory, by New South Wales Labor's previous efforts. What a state the state of New South Wales politics is in, and what a state it's been in for more than 2 decades. This result plays into my theory that the Liberal Party doesn't know what it is or what it stands for anymore. They've actually traduced the original traditional values of lower taxes, less regulation, smaller government and stronger families in favour of a left-green agenda, which of course plays right into the hands of the political hard left. Matt Keane is the face of that poison in New South Wales. He leads the dripping wet faction thanks to the same lobbyists who profit from pushing the agenda of climate rent seekers through the New South Wales Parliament. Traditional Liberals think Keane's ideas and policies are more fitting for a Labor-Green alliance, and who can blame them? And today, Mr Keane decided to play the long game, announcing he won't be running for the leadership. Now, in my opinion, that's a smart move by Keane. He would know that the new leader is unlikely to ever be Premier, and I'm sure he'll let others do the heavy lifting while he plots away silently in the wings, waiting for his chance. Now, the likes of Keane in a leadership position, or should I say another leadership position, would be another disaster for the Liberal brand. It already has been, hasn't it? I mean, his disloyal campaign utterances during the federal election and those ahead of the state one alienated a lot of traditional supporters. More broadly, this identity crisis, it's actually a national phenomenon for the Liberal Party. Out of office across mainland Australia, based on their performance in government and opposition, they didn't deserve much else. And one has to ask, why vote for them? If it's a case of, we'll mandate fewer pronouns than the other mob, or our wind turbines cost less of your taxes, they're not giving us much of a choice. Australians deserve better than a uni-party state, or where the only real alternatives are even further in the socialist camp than the major parties. Have a look around the country. New South Wales, swept from power in a landslide. The Victorian Liberals, they're absolutely hopeless and hopelessly left-wing. South Australia, after 16 years in opposition, the Liberals lost office in a single term thanks to pathetic leadership and wet puppet masters pulling the strings like they do in New South Wales. Western Australian Liberals, less than a handful in opposition. In Queensland LNP, they've still got a way to go. Federally, the Libs have abandoned every tenet of their platform, and that's where they lost office too. The only place they still stand is Tasmania, and I've got to be perfectly frank, I don't know that much about Tassie politics, except you can win a Senate seat down there with just about 30,000 votes. In any event, it's not a good look for the Liberals, and no doubt each of the Liberal tribes will be blaming one another. They've been doing that for decades now, and the proof is in the pudding. They're out of power and out of puff, mostly because they no longer know what they represent or what they want to achieve, aside from power for power's sake.